Okay, so let's look at using the cross collar choke from mount or a reaction to set up the armbar. So again, I'm not sitting on Matthew, there's space between his hips and mine. He take the slack out of the lapel, right hand comes in, there's my primary grip. But now a reaction is before I get into the whole cross collar choke game, Matthew makes his grip. Now if he knows jiu-jitsu, he will have this elbow clamped to his body. If it's flopping around, I'll just fill the space with my knee. And from there, we have the arm bar. But if he knows jiu-jitsu, the minute I make that grip, Matthew's going to clamp this elbow to his body, which means it's very difficult for me to get the arm bar because there's no open elbow. So watch, from there, his right elbow's clamped to his body. The curling of my wrist just moves his elbow a little inch. Now the goal is for me to get my left hip somewhere around the same level as Matthew's right elbow. So from there, when I'm there, I will curl. That gives me an inch. But what actually drops it further is the widening of my knees. The problem is now Matthew can move his head this way. So I'm going to take my left hand and point my fingers towards me. It seems like an awkward angle, but I'm going to move my whole body in that direction. So my fingers will point towards me. I've curled the wrist to get that little open elbow. And then I widen my knees and drop my hips. I can feel now my left hip is slightly lower than Matthew's right elbow. And now from that position, head moves forward and I just fill that space with my knee. So I'm putting a pillow between his head. Just going to walk my right foot up, not into S mount, just into T mount. But the detail is to keep Matthew from getting his right elbow to the mat, I engage my hips. Alright, now from there I turn the corner, my left foot, windshield wipers out, try to get your elbow to the mat, bro. And now from there, in one action, my left hand is going to let go as my left foot replaces, and my left arm comes around to make the grip on the wrist. I can grab here, I can get the crook of my arm around, try to pull your arm out, bro. And now from there, we are into the GG. Let's just turn this way, bro. So, take the slack out of the collar, right hand comes in, Matthew makes that initial grip, okay. From that position, I'm going to place my left hand, so my fingers are pointing towards me, and I curl my wrist. It's hard to see this visually, but his right elbow is just risen another inch. Now, to get my hips below his right elbow, I open my knees and widen them. Now my left hip is slightly lower or level with his right elbow. And now from that position, I just slide my knee up. Once I'm there, heel toe into technical mount. But the detail is, my weight is not on my heel. I engage my hip, so he's carrying my weight. Try to get your elbow to the mat. And now from there, my head moves towards my right foot. Windshield wiper. And now my left foot replaces my left hand, which is on the mat, and I find the end of the lever, which is his right wrist. And now from there, we're into the juji. Again, just stay at that angle.
Yep.
So take the slack out of the lapel, right hand comes in, left comes, fingers pointing towards me. From there, I curl the wrist to get an inch of an open elbow. Then I widen my knees and lower my hips to get them lower than his right elbow. Slide my knee up. The detail is, when I walk heel toe, my hips are engaged. Try to get your elbow out. And now from there, a windshield wiper. And we're into the arm bar. Just get one more on that side. See what I'm doing with my feet. So, curl, hand comes up. From that position, I widen my knees to get my hip lower than his elbow. Fill the space, heel toe, engage my hips. So I'm not sitting back level, my hips are forward. Try to get your elbow out, and now from there, as my left foot travels over his head, my left hand lets go, it comes off the mat. And now from there, I'll make the grip on the wrist, and we have our armbar. So it's the armbar from the mount, setting it up with the cross collar choke.